Hello everyone, welcome back to Kitchen Garden Therapy. I'm Slava and today I will talk to you about how to maximize your space and how to grow a ton of fruit, vegetables and medicinal plants and flowers of course in your small space or not so small space. I have small property in the middle of Chicago. My lot is like about 25 by 125 feet, including everything, house, garage, and my greenhouse and shed. But I still managed to grow a lot of different edibles in my garden. So let me flip the camera and show you around my house and share with you some tips and tricks on how I am able to grow a lot of different food in my garden. Let's get to it. So first of all, I am growing vegetables in the front of my house. Traditionally, in Chicago at least, people don't grow food in front porches or front lawns. They keep food in the backyards. But I decided that I'm going to use my front garden for growing vegetables as well. So as you can see right now, in the front, I have a ton of flowers, but I also have some vegetables growing. Let me get closer so you can see what I'm talking about. Well, first of all, we have this pot over here with nasturtiums that have tomato in between. So as you can see, there is a bush variety tomato over here and it's currently blooming. This variety is called Czech. And also in between my flowers over here I have mint, which is considered herb, not a vegetable, but still we can eat it. Also over here in the front where I have my petunias and other flowers, I planted Chinese pink celery. And that's how it looks. It's still small now, but I figured since it has pink stems, it will match perfectly with all of my pink flowers over here. The peonies, petunias, my mallow right there, and my pansies. Also, next to my Chinese pink celery, I have some kale growing. As you can see, kale can be also used as an ornamental and edible. On this side, I also have another peony and another pot with nasturtiums and tomato. Another way of maximizing your space is to use spaces that traditionally are not used for planting. So like these spaces between the houses, usually people don't plant anything over there except some hostas. But I decided that it's a valuable real estate and I cannot just use it for hostas. You can get creative and use every space available. Like for example, over here on my porch, I have a small 2x4 spot and I decided to put elevated raised bed over here and grow some radishes together with pansies. And as a succession, I already planted some peppers in here. So when these will be out, peppers will have more room. And of course, I am planning to add some more summer flowers over here on the edges. Maybe even I'll transplant some of these nasturtiums because they are definitely overgrowing these pots. And I'm not sure if these tomatoes will be happy with such an aggressive companion plant. By the way, I already have a few tomatoes ripening. These were started indoors and I had them under grow lights, but now since it's already warm, I took them outside and I felt like this spot is perfect for them because it's a small pot. It can fit under these large pansy containers over here. And that, by the way, is tarragon, which is one of my favorite herbs. So I always have a ton of tarragon in my garden. Everywhere that I have room, I plant tarragon. Another way to maximize your space is to grow vertically. You can see here in my back garden, right by the door, I have 2 greenstock towers and I have an arc, which both are considered vertical gardening tools. So right on my arc, I have clematis growing, but I also planted some cucumbers over there so they can climb up on the arc. Also on my greenstock towers, I decided to even utilize the top tier, which is for water, but I figured a small pot with begonias are not going to hurt. I can still water my towers from the top and utilize that extra space over there. Let me get closer so you can see what I'm talking about. So here's my greenstock tower, interplanted with different vegetables. You can see kale in the bottom, celery, peppers, tomatoes. This pretty thing is a black pearl pepper, which I fell in love with last year, and now it's always going to be in my garden. I have some lettuce on top and begonia all the way on the top. In my other greenstock tower, by the way, just take a look at this beauty. Chives blooming, sage, also my pansies, columbine. I have beans, eggplants, peppers, also this is that other begonia. So that's how you water. You just put water over here, but I figured why not have a pot here. It's still not blocking those holes, so it's okay. Garden is starting to fill up now with all of the spring vegetables slowly being harvested, and the summer vegetables that I planted are starting to grow. Like you can see, my peppers and petunias are starting to fill these pots over here. My broad beans are almost done flowering. I even have some small peppers already that pretty soon I'll be able to harvest them. Just look at these tiny shishito peppers. Aren't they cute? My cabbages are looking really good now, and I even started harvesting some of the broccoli already. So you can see I am not going with any design. My garden beds are full with random vegetables. Now, like, there's no perfect rows of vegetables. It's because I am not planting for design, for beauty. I'm planting to get the most of my garden. So early in the spring, like in March, I come here and I plant all the space available with lettuces and cabbages and onions and garlic and stuff like that. And then slowly, as I'm harvesting them, there are spots available which I come and sow some seeds. Seeds like carrots and beets, like you can see over here. So this spot over here, it was full of different lettuces, and as I was harvesting those lettuces, I filled empty spaces with beets and carrots. And then slowly, as I'm going to be harvesting these, I will be sowing more seeds. Every space that gets empty, I also plant some of the peppers and tomatoes that I have left over. So I just planted that tomato, that one, the other day, and the other one over here, because I had some lettuce picked up. And let me show you, like I always have some seedlings left over. So even though I don't have any room right now to plant more tomatoes, but I figured, you know, it's good to have some extra tomato seedlings just in case. So here I have a tray of tomatoes, just waiting to have spots available for them. Also, I have some winter sown onions and leeks, also waiting for empty spots in my garden. So this is my backyard. It's small and tiny. Half of it is filled with raised beds. The other half still has grass and walk area. And as you can see, I'm using every place, like over here under a bay window. I'm still growing stuff. That's my back door over there with my green stock towers. And I'm even utilizing the fence area. So I have hanging pots, and on the other side I also have pots. I also have what I call a secret garden, which nobody can see except people from the alley, which is the road we call behind the garages. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So that's the alley over there, and this is my garage and my neighbors, and it's a very narrow spot over here, but I decided to use it anyway just because I want to grow more food. So over here on one side I planted a row of eggplants, and over there by the fence I planted peppers, and all the way in the end over there I have compost bin and 3 large pots with tomatoes. So I'm utilizing every space I have. Also, together with my eggplants and peppers, I planted some basil. So each pot of eggplants has basil in them as well. The birds are chirping so nice. I love this time of the year when the temperatures are still cool like they're supposed to be in the spring, but it's warm enough, no frost, and all of the spring vegetables are still okay. Summer vegetables are already safe. So I just love this time of the year. You don't have to water every day like in the summer, and everything is starting to bloom and just filling out your raised beds. It's so nice. Like you can see here, I have pansies still in bloom. I already planted some nasturtiums that can take over once the pansies will be done. Nasturtiums will be kind of hanging on the edges of these raised beds. And here I have peas, and when peas will be done, because you can see it's already blooming, so in about a month it'll be over, I already planted some cucumbers to take over. Also I planted some tomatoes. So once the peas will be gone, the tomato and cucumbers will take over this area, and same on the other side. you can see a teeny tiny tomato over there and over here. And just look at this peas, how nicely it blooms. I'm also using places underneath of my elevated raised beds. You can see over there underneath I have some pots with peppers. Peppers, some of them don't grow that big, so they can stay over there until I have space available in my raised beds, and that's when I'll be able to transplant those peppers so they can have more room. But for now they are perfectly fine underneath over there. Same over here. I had a spot and I decided to put a couple of pots. There's even one tomato in this jungle. This is my medicinal herb jungle. That's the feverfew, motherwort. What is that? Yeah, that's motherwort too. Mugwort. That's valerian over there with white blooms. This is celandine. And I have a tomato. And tomato I planted in the pot. It's a large 5-gallon pot. And I decided to grow tomato in here. Same as here. In this large, I think this is 7-gallon or maybe even 10-gallon pot, I planted tomato with cilantro. That's my fig together with chamomile and tarragon. And over here I have a huge bed of potatoes. More tomatoes in grow bags. And let me show you my corn. Yes, I planted some corn even though I don't have much room, but I decided at least a little bit of corn I need to have. So I planted some butternut squash on the edge over there, corn and cucumbers on this edge. Another way to maximize your space and grow more is to use hanging baskets with food. So what can you grow in hanging baskets? You can grow anything. Peas, tomatoes, strawberries. Let me show you as an example. I have strawberries over here in this hanging basket and this one. I also have peas growing right here. You see, it's a hanging pot. And I started this peas, I'll show you when. March 28. And this is early perfection peas. And just look at it. It's so happy in this pot. It's like overflowing on the edges. It looks amazing. And you can place it either on the fence or on these hooks, anywhere you have available place, because there's always some empty patches. There's always something that's super small, like a perennial that you just planted, and it will take a year or two for it to get established. In the meantime, you can have these annuals growing there without affecting your perennials. Just take a look at the mix that I have over here. I have rhubarb. I have a peach tree that I just planted last year. It's still small, but it's doing good. I have currants over here. What else? I have a ton of strawberries in the front with some onions in between. That's my echinacea on the edge over there. And I even planted some melons. So my idea is when the strawberries will be done, we will harvest them in June. By that time, this melon, which is a Soviet Union melon, I started it from seed in April, and it's growing really slow, but that's not a problem. It was cold, so that's why it's still very tiny. But now that it's warm, finally, it will start to grow and get bigger, and by the time the strawberries are done, some of it will grow that way, some of it will come out on the grass. I don't mind. I would rather have melons than grass. So that's my crazy idea, to have melons in the middle of my yard. So that's what I do to grow a ton of different things in my garden. I use every possible way: grow vertically, utilize fences, utilize hidden areas like that one over there. I grow in the front of my house, in the back, in pots, in raised beds, in ground, everywhere possible. And I'm very happy that I can do all of that and have amazing garden that I am in love with. I hope you can also grow everything you want in your garden, and I'll see you next time. Bye.